Yeah, thank you so much. It's almost 30 minutes past 8. How much time do you have?
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Okay, asante sana watumishi, brothers and sisters, wherever you are. We thank God for this opportunity. We are grateful and we are humble that God has allowed us another chance to meet. We are all safe and we thank God for that. Again, we have another important topic. We'll be discussing the reproductive system today. It is also called the regeneration pathway. And I intend to divide this discussion into almost 10 parts, 9 parts. The first one will be establishing our origin as being created in God, and therefore He gives us the power to regenerate, as opposed to evolutionism, where it is said that we might have evolved from other animals, and therefore reproduction is based, the basic unit of reproduction is seed, as opposed to evolution. Which led to a gender reassignment, surgery. Then, if you have time, we're going to look at normalization of nakedness, which is shameful. And then we are going to look at another aspect of sexual immorality as a god besides the true God. Then we'll look at abstention from sex for the reason that the sexual organs are not mature. God willing, and we have time, we're going to look at the depopulation agenda and seed warfare and natural family planning, and lastly, the mystery of STDs. Now, I'll be pausing between each of these topics to allow time for a comment or a question to avoid monotony. So let's start off. So between creationism and evolutionism in matters of reproduction, what do you believe in? In the book Education, page 130.1 and .2, we are told that akin to the theory concerning the evolution of the earth is that which attributes to an ascending line of germs, mollusks, and quadrupeds the evolution of man and crowning glory of the creation. So remember, at the time Ellen G. White was being given this message of health, Charles Darwin had propounded his theory of evolution, where man is believed to have evolved or divided apart from one common ancestor. So it is said the first parent, according to evolution, was called the last universal ancestor. There was a common ancestor. So according to SOP, considering all these, shall we, for the privilege of tracing our descent from germs and mollusks and apes, consent to cast away that statement of the Holy Writ, so grand in its simplicity? Shall we reject the genealogical record prouder than any treasure in the courts of kings, that which was the son of Adam, which was the son of God. So true regeneration takes us back to God, and for that reason, we have been created in the image and in the likeness of God. We do not have a resemblance on earth. We resemble beings in heaven. So that's important. So in reproduction, we say kind begets kind, so that every organism that God created reproduces after its own kind. So anything that reproduces something different to the parent, we say it has mutated or it is deformed. And such kind of an offspring will not be able to regenerate. So this is contrary to the position of evolution, which says that when animals mutate, they gain advantageous characteristics. So that is not true. Those who believe in God and in true nature, we know that mutation will lead to a disease that will cause the organism to be extinct. I need to emphasize that because most of the theories concerning germs, viruses, bacteria that have been propounded emphasize the fact that mutation of these microorganisms make them more lethal, more resistant to drugs, and they change form to enhance their survival. Not true according to what we call genuine creation. So that in Genesis 1:27, God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. So for once, we know that God has assumed that you understand when you see between a male and a female. So the Bible does not attempt to define who is male, who is female. It is assumed it will be obvious to us. So God created us and then blessed them and said them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea. So the only way man could have dominion is by reproduction, because he would have authority over all the organisms and the other members of the ecosystem. So let's understand that there is an effect to any cause, and the effect is similar to the cause. And by so saying, we mean that one organism will produce an offspring of its own kind. So this is the law of nature. It is as definite and cannot be changed. It is as simple as that. So that if we compromise on health, we are likely to affect our offsprings because they are coming from the same tissue that is diseased in us. So we need to be careful in matters of health, especially for the purpose that has the instinct to survive in a very difficult environment. So he named them according to the character. So we are told, as they passed by him, he would name them because he was acquainted with their nature and their habits. So naming defines the character, so that there should be no confusion as far as evolution says that you can mutate and make a different organism that is different from the parent. So if they say that we emanated from rodents, then we should resemble the rats. But because we came from God, we resemble God. We have the likeness and the image of God. So that we can only be named by, that is, our names will depend, the naming is about the nature and the habits of that organism. So I want you to imagine at one point The serpent, before it was named, passed before Adam, and he noted it was intelligent and it was sly, and therefore he called it serpent. So by naming it, he showed authority over the serpent. And little wonder, the serpent could not be used by the devil to deceive Adam. So the devil took advantage of a being that had not interacted with the serpent before. So in the book 3SG 75.2, we are told that during those times, human beings had started the science of amalgamation. People may think that we have cutting edge technology today, and therefore the science of cloning, hybridization, or mixing of species is just starting. It was there even before the flood. So by that amalgamation, they created what we call confused species. And by confusion here, we mean something that is mutant, something that is different from the offspring. And it could not be named because it did not bear certain characteristics of the parents. So we had confused species, which God did not create. And these were the result of the amalgamation, and they were destroyed during the flood. Okay, since the flood, there has been amalgamation of man and beast, as may be seen in the almost endless varieties of species of animals and in certain races of men. Have you ever asked yourself why today the population of the dwarfs, the albinos, those who have Down syndrome, or people who are deformed in some way because of they are genetically mutated, we do not have a larger population of them as compared to the persons who are normal? The reason is they cannot compete in a very harsh environment, and therefore they die because they lack what we call survival advantages. So they are deformed, they are missing certain characteristics of healthy organisms, and therefore they cannot survive. So reproduction is so important. And it is that serious, especially when it comes to the second objective. Any question or comment? The hands. So you help me to identify anybody with a concern, either by raising their hands. It's either I have lost communication with the group or there are no questions. So can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm asking whether there are any questions. I want to go to the second part.
There's a question.
Please.
There's a question I could ask.
Yes.
I could ask if vaccination is one way of amalgamating human beings. That was my question.
Exactly, my brother. Thank you for commenting on that. Okay. Yeah, exactly. And I can prove to you it is exactly as you say it. When a mother becomes pregnant, the first indication that you are about to be amalgamated is the introduction of an animal product into your body. And this happens to all pregnant mothers as long as you go to the hospital. So the vaccine mothers get contains animal tissue. And that is a mark to remind you you evolved from animals. And that is why they are giving you the mark. The other thing that has to be done to that woman is they have to get what we call an HIV test, which has been developed from rats and from bacteria called E. coli. So that test is a reminder that you evolved from animals and therefore you bear characteristics similar to those of animals. So for that reason, those two tasks have to be done at the same time. And I can challenge, ask any pregnant mother. Those are the two first things that they have to undergo. And then once they have delivered the baby, the same thing happens. They have to get another HIV test, and both the mother and the baby will get an injection that contains animal tissue. And that is meant to remind them that, remember, you came from animals. Okay? So thank you so much to Mishi for reminding me that. I needed to say it. Wow. So any other question before we move on or comment? Okay, can we move on?
Yes, you can proceed.
Okay. Okay, let's go to what we call the LGBTQIA controversy. So in the year 1980, we had the LGB movement that time. It was called the lesbian, gay, and bisexual movement. So later in the 90s, they added a T, the transgender, and they also added a Q in 2000, which is the queer. So people who are not sure where they belong. So we talk of another gender trapped in the wrong body. And then we have the intersexual and the asexual. Now, when you hear of this movement, it is contrary to nature, goes against nature. In fact, it is a deviancy from the normal gender that God assigned when He created Adam and Eve. And at this point, you are shocked. Is it so difficult to identify or to tell between a man and a woman? Now let's hear what Romans 1:25 is saying. So we are told they changed the truth of God, and therefore God left them over to their own vile affections. So they changed the natural use, that of the woman and that of the man, and they were burning in lust toward one another. So this is exactly what happened in the year 1980. So there is a movement called GATE. Now GATE stands for Global Action for Transgenderism Equality. So it seeks to have equality for those people whose gender is extra-binary. Extra-binary simply means your gender is beyond the two obvious genders that we know, male and female. So we call them extra-binary or beyond the binary gender. So this GATE movement proposed what we call the LGBTQ rights. And that is why we are saying they are being worshipped. So people have changed the truth of God to worship a creature. These are men who have devised laws to defy the true gender. So in the year 1980, because we had gay men, so these are men who are having sex with other men. And they are so dirty, they were so sickly, they got a disease. They contracted a very bad disease. The name of the disease is called GRADE, and GRADE stands for gay-related immunodeficiency. So today it is called HIV. So this disease has always affected the gay men. But how Africans came to accept a gay disease to be theirs, it has to do with being convinced by the tests that have been generated from laboratory rats and also bacteria. This disease has nothing to do with Africans unless you accept. It will take you faith to accept that you have this disease. Otherwise, it is purely a disease of the gay men because of their lifestyle. And how was their lifestyle? They were injecting, they were using drugs we call poppers. So they're injectables. So when you inject poppers, the chemical name for poppers is nitrite. So they cause injury to the blood vessels, they cause sores, okay, all over the body. They are going to lower your immunity. They are also going to reduce your blood levels. You will start having swelling of lymph nodes. So all those past characteristics of people, those were the conditions. I mean, that was the situation with the gay men. So those things you hear about AIDS, those were the symptoms and signs of this disease among the gay men. And let me repeat that if you still believe that somebody you know or yourself has this disease, then believe you me, you believe in evolution and no one can help you. So how many genders are there? This is the question I posed to Google and other mainstream sources of information. And this is the answer they gave me. That there is no single fixed answer. So meaning, where we are, it is not so obvious that you could be a man or you could be a woman. So that is what they are saying. So they are talking of varieties as far as gender is concerned, and it will depend on biological, those are the binary, psychological, sociological frameworks. So they say that the traditional perspective is a binary view where we have a male and female, but we also have a macro view where we have a person who denies he's a man or he is a woman. And you have the rest of the spectrum, the queer people, the transsexual, the bisexual, and those who feel they're neither male or female, but they're somebody else trapped in a female or male body. Okay. Now, this is going to bring confusion because the intention of the devil is to create confusion. So we have a case in Colorado. I also read about a case in Ohio, and these cases are happening in America, where a boy who has a declared gender of a girl, because by law, you can declare your gender. So a boy declares to be a girl and then seeks the services or the service of an attorney. In US, they call them attorneys, and then they are legalized. So it's a boy, but then he is assigned the gender of a female. So in this case, they are going for a school trip, and when they are being assigned the dormitories, the boy is taken to where the girls are. And when he is, because he is defying his own nature, so he starts to behave like a boy. So this is what we call confusion. It is immorality at best. This is nothing else but the devil laughing at what we call genuine order the natural order of things. Okay, good. And did you know that it's men who want to behave like
Excuse Daktari, can you hear me? Members present, can you see Daktari's screen?
No.
Okay, let me call him. Yes.
But I can see his screen, base passion and masturbation.
Unaona na unasikia sauti yake?
The sound is lost.
Okay.
For me, I'm seeing nothing. So
Yeah, as per now, everything is lost.
Sister Harriet, can someone hear me? Can someone hear me, please? Hello? Hello, can someone hear me, please? Hello. Yes, kindly, Sister Harriet, if you're in a position, lead us with a song. Let me try to reach out to Daktari, kindly. Tafadhali. Someone can share his or her screen as I try to reach out to Daktari, please.
Okay, tutaimba nyimbo za Kristo namba 56. Namba 56 nyimbo za Kristo. Walio kifoni nenda waponye, uwatoe walio shimoni, wanaoanguka uwainue, habari njema uwajulishe, walio kifoni waokoeni, Mwokozi yuko huwangojea. Wajapokawia anangojea, awasubiri waje tobani. Mwokozi hawezi kuwadharau, huwasamehe tangu zamani. Walio kifoni waokoeni, Mwokozi yuko huwangojea. Na ndani ya moyo wa wanadamu huwamo shida tena huzuni, lakini kwa Yesu kuna rehema, kuwaponya na kuwaokoa. Walio kifoni waokoeni, Mwokozi yuko huwangojea. Walio kifoni nenda waponye, kazini yetu zawadi ipo, nguvu kuhubiri Bwana hutoa, kwa subira tuwavute sasa. Walio kifoni waokoeni, Mwokozi yuko huwangojea. Amen.
Sijui kama unaiona. Aya, huioni? Haikuji? Hebu nijaribu tena. Na sasa?
You can try to reduce the number of apps zenye zimefungua kwa browser.
Oh.
Because I think hiyo place huko network ndio inasumbua. Mtu microphone yako kwanza kwa group.
Inaonekana? Halo. Halo, inaonekana?
Yeah, the screen is seen.
Oh, it's visible, eh?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
Isa, thank you. So we were talking about base passions and masturbation. And here I wanted us to understand that there's an area of the brain responsible for emotions. It's called the pleasure center or the limbic system. And this is the area that is stimulated by pleasure. So if we can call it, in fact, when you talk of the reproductive system, we have a replica of the reproductive system in the brain. And this is the pleasure center. We have all the organs of reproduction in the brain. So this area is stimulated. And unless it is governed by your reason or your judgment, which is on the top part of your brain, then you're likely to stimulate this area. It is never satisfied. You have to tame it. Okay. It is the area that make people to be addicted. So when you stimulate this area to the extent that you are now indulging in that habit, so you become addicted, eventually you become dependent, and lastly you tolerate, you become tolerant to the habit. So that you need more of this pleasure to attain the levels that you are attaining initially. So it's a very bad area of the brain if it is not tamed. And that is what makes people to masturbate at home. That is the area that the devil is working on to change the personality of people so that they believe they are not women and they are not men. They want to reassign themselves a gender based on that area of the brain. So it needs to be brought under the governance of your reason. So when you talk of lusts of the flesh, we are actually talking of the driving, those emotions that drive you in the pleasure center. So here we have what we call the male reproductive system. I needed to say that it is possible to identify a male from a female by using what we call the anatomy or the structure. So the body of a male is different from the body of a female, including the bones. They are different. In fact, the only part of the body of a male that is similar to the body of a female is the area of the chest minus the breasts. So that a girl who has not grown her breasts will not be different from a boy. They'll be similar in anatomy. Otherwise, the rest of the body, including the bones and the structure, is different. What is so obvious is the anatomy of the reproductive system, because the male reproductive system is situated externally, while the female reproductive system is situated inwards. And this is meant to complement each other, because at one point we need reproduction by merging of the male and the female together. Okay, so we have the parts, as you can see. It is important to note that the testes are the major factories for the sperms, and the sperm is the seed responsible for reproduction. It is worth noting that the sperm is the smallest cell in the body of a male. It is the smallest, yet it can grow into a big human being. Okay, so it can be likened to the mustard seed, which is the smallest in the field, but when it grows up, it becomes a mighty tree, and other people are dependent on this boy or man who is going to come from this seed. Now here we have the female reproductive system. We have the uterus on your left, and the uterus is connected on the lower side to the birth canal, and on the upper side is connected to the fallopian tubes, and the fallopian tubes are connected to the ovaries. For the females, they are going to generate an egg every month. It comes from one ovary, but there are females whose two ovaries are active. And if the two ovaries are active, there can be a likelihood of the female getting a twin. But those twins will not be identical, okay, because the eggs are coming from two ovaries. But if the ovary of one side is active, it is going to produce one egg, and that egg is taken by the fallopian tube, and the fallopian tube is able to move in all directions. So if one fallopian tube is blocked, it's able to pick an egg from any side where the ovary is. So that is the amazing thing about the fallopian tube. Now, if you look at the uterus as it is connected to the birth canal, that's a tube. You know, there's a lot of excitement when we discuss the female reproductive system, and I do not know why. This is a tube just like any other tube in the body of a woman. For example, the intestines, okay? So unless our minds have been disrupted, we are not able to appreciate nature. And there's a lot of excitement, unnecessary excitement concerning the female reproductive system.
Hello, daktari.
So we are, it is at the end of the digestive system, okay? So
Wah, daktari ametoka tena. From my side, that's what I can see.
Yeah.
Najua anaishi country living chini ya Nyeri Hills, so let me try reaching him again.
Hello? Hello? Exactly. Itabidi. Unaiona sasa? Eh, hiyo ni hatari bana. Mm. So, are you able to see? You're able to see the slide? Eh? Good. So we continue. Yeah, hello. Hello. Nasikika? Eh? Oh, wonderful. Unaweza zima on your side. Sawa sawa, tuendelee. Poleni kwa tumepotea kidogo, lakini tunashukuru Mungu tumeweza kupata mawasiliano tena. So I was saying that this is the female reproductive system. It's the female reproductive system, and I'm not sure whether I'm repeating myself because the last time I was discussing the system, and I wanted to emphasize that the female reproductive system, if you look at the picture on your right, it is beset between the end of the digestive system and the urinary system. Okay, so we were asking ourselves, why did God have to place the female reproductive system between excretory organs? And we found that it is also an excretory system because it excretes the menstrual flow, and it also excretes the baby. Okay, so majorly its purpose is excretory, or it removes something from inside itself. So meaning the other purpose of copulation is limited, and we are going to find even among God's people, they had what we call moderation when it comes to matters regarding reproduction. They were only meeting for purposes of reproduction, or when they wanted a baby. But we know that our minds have been distorted to the extent this reproductive system has been taken over to be a pleasure system. So meaning taking away the original purpose, and it has been taken over for an evil purpose. So before we go to the third part of this discussion, so any question or comment on the previous section?
There was some question.
So any question or comment on the previous section?
Yeah, there's one. Eh?
Yes.
I will read it. Brother Kerema and written this. I'm reading it from the messages session. Can we see it? Najaribu kuiangalia because he saying something about amalgamation. Sijui kama zangu zimepotea. Or Kirema, you are here, you can ask.
It was answered. Yeah, I asked, but it was answered by Dr. Fred.
Okay, thank you. Doctor, we can continue.
Okay.
But let me ask this for a keen listener. Do you want to mean that when God created man, sex was not for pleasure in any way? It was only for reproduction. That is according to the last statement you've just said.
Yeah, hello, exactly. We in fact have addressed the same issue later on. So maybe we move into the other section and then we get to understand the purpose of sex.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So I will continue the slide sharing. Once you see the slides, please confirm.
Visible.
Okay. So there was an emotional need in Adam, and then God created Eve, okay, which was a gender different from that of Adam. Now let's see what exactly happened. So from the book Patriarchs and Prophets, page 46, we are told that after the creation of Adam, every living creature was brought before him to receive its name. Now I want you to listen attentively to this. He saw that to each had been given a companion, but among them there was not found an helpmeet for him. So among all the creatures God had made on earth, there was not one equal to man. So supposing that man had evolved from animals, then you can definitely be sure that he ought to have found a companion fit for him with the animals, but he didn't find. So there was no animal that was equal to man, both in nature and character. So God said it is not good for the man to be alone. I'm going to make him an helpmeet for him, because man was not to dwell in solitude, he was to be a social being. And without a companionship, the beautiful things and delightful employments of Eden would have failed to yield perfect happiness. So of importance, God created for him a mate, so that he can have somebody to desire for sympathy, companionship, somebody of the same nature. So the nature of animals is different from that of human beings. So let's remember that God spoke the animals into existence, but when it came to human beings, he bent down to construct our first parents. So there was a lot of delicate work that was supposed to be done. And therefore the outcome, as you could see, man was different from the animal. So man was upright, the animals walk on all fours. Man had a face, okay, with eyes placed in front, and this is different when it comes to animals. When it comes to function, a man has a different function. He is intelligent. He can use his hands, okay, and legs and his body to make signs or gestures in order to communicate, okay? So the way he communicates is intelligent, and therefore we do not evolve from animals. So God is going to make a mate for Adam. So we are told in order to do this, that in Genesis 2:21, he caused a deep sleep and took one of his ribs and then closed up the flesh instead thereof. Now, have you ever asked yourself, and this is where we have the controversy, because the devil and science have been hidden from knowing what actually happened in the creation of man. In Genesis 1:26, it says, "Let us create man in our own image." And that was God talking to his son. So the devil was not involved in the council that decided to create man. Now there could have been another chance of Adam observing the creation of Eve. But imagine God made him to miss this opportunity. He caused a very deep sleep. He took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. So those people who say that men have one rib less, please know this. God closed up the area. So the area healed, okay, restoring the original number of ribs. And so both men and women have equal number of ribs. So in the book Signs of the Times, August 30, 1899, we are told God had taken a rib from man, made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, "This is now bone of my bone." Please note, there's a lot of emphasis first on the bones because the woman came from the bone. And there are a lot of questions to ask. What are the properties of a bone, and specifically a rib bone, as far as the creation of a woman is concerned? Okay? Because now another being that is going to help Adam in regeneration is going to be created. So this is the being, when we talk of reproduction, we say she's the mother of all living. Okay? So she's going to be created specially, of course, with some exaggeration of certain features, so that she takes up the role and the character of a woman as opposed to that of the man. And then she's created from bones. Now let's look at the properties of ribs. Now, there are some amazing facts about the ribs. Okay? Number one, let's understand that Adam was created before the woman. Okay? And when it comes to ribs, it takes 25 years for ribs to mature, a process we call ossification. 25 years. You see, the process of making a woman was summarized. It was condensed to a few minutes or hours. But a woman matures later than the period the period of time God took. It takes 25 years for a woman to mature and to be able to reproduce healthy babies. For an entire system of a woman to mature, it takes about 25 years. It's little wonder that God took a material from Adam that takes the same amount of time to mature. Ribs are also known to be pliable, meaning they are easily bent. You can easily shape them. Okay? So they are not the hardest bones of the body. In fact, the skull is the hardest bone of the body, followed by the bones of the legs and the arms. So God chose to take a bone that is compliant, a bone that is pliable. So I always say, let ladies be ladies. Don't be rough, okay? Because your nature reminds you that you're supposed to be compliant, pliable, okay? All those things. The other thing you note about the ribs is that they have cartilages on either ends. This is to allow them to bend and to allow them to continue to grow. So it's a bone that has a lot of capacity to continue to grow because it is always moving, okay? And that kind of movement as you breathe in and out is very important to have a bone that is compliant. So thirdly, ribs have what we call pluripotent cells. So they have cells that are able to regenerate any body tissue. Okay? So cells that can transform into any organ in the body, whether it's an ear, an eye, okay, the kidney. So pluripotent means having the potential to regenerate other tissue. Huh? And the reason for that is because it contains what we call the red bone marrow. So this is the kind of marrow that is needed in adults in order to regenerate very important cells in the blood, including the blood itself. Okay. So for the same reason, when you have a problem with the quality of blood, we normally do what we call a bone marrow, which is taken from a flat bone, such as a rib. Though the hip bone is preferred, it's another flat bone. So that bone has the same properties just as the rib. But the bone marrow can also be taken from the ribs or from the sternum. Then the ribs also have a wide base and they are carved. And this is the nature of a woman. A woman is supposed to be shorter than a man, and there is no problem with them having a wide base because this is dictated by the estrogen in them. It's dictated by the estrogen, and they are carved. Okay, bones are carved, and therefore the female body is also curvaceous. Then the other property is this is the first bone to receive the breath of life when God created Adam. Remember, he breathed into his nostrils. He breathed into his nostrils. Can somebody confirm whether I'm audible?
You are Daktari.
Okay, thank you. So,
And someone has raised, and I don't know whether Tangoja
yeah.
or you like to address her. Should she unmute?
No, let me finish with this and then we can move on.
Okay, thank you.
With the question. So this was the first bone to receive the breath of life because God breathed the breath of life into the chest cavity. So it was the first bone to be enlivened, and therefore God could have opted to go for the rib because it benefited from the first dose, the freshest dose of the breath of God. The other thing we need to know about ribs, they are highly regenerative capacity because they are vascularized, and for that reason they are able to generate other tissue, and they're able to heal very fast. In fact, if you get a fracture of the ribs, they do not put a cast. It is not treated. You're told to go home. You're given painkillers because the rib has the ability to heal itself. And the ribs, the other thing is, of all the bones of a man and a woman, the only bone that is similar to that of a woman is the rib. They are the ribs. Otherwise, the rest of the bones are different in structure. Okay? So there are certain characteristics that differentiate all the bones apart from the man and the woman become equal are the ribs because the ribs are similar. So if there were to be a human skeleton with a skull and the limbs removed, you could not differentiate the ribs of a man and those of a woman. Then the other thing, ribs are very sensitive to hormones. Okay, so for the same reason, that is why we have the mammary tissue close to the ribs, and we also have the mammary tissue close to an area of the body that is able to generate a lot of blood. So for that reason, the baby benefits from the mother's milk, which is simply blood minus iron. Okay, so God had a reason for taking the rib, and then it also has an advantageous location because it is placed close to the heart and placed to the respiratory system. So it is able to get a lot of air, and also blood. Now, before we go to normalization of nakedness, let's hear that comment.
Welcome so much, our sister. Daktari, hata ukiniachia kazi nitakuwa na kuangalilia.
Okay, ni sawa basi.
Kasaika, is that Kasaika? Yeah, she raised the hand, I don't know. Hivyo ndivyo inasoma hiyo jina yako, tafadhali. I'm sorry if I have pronounced it wrongly.
Pole ili niliguza by mistake. Endelea tu daktari.
Okay, asante.
So it's Angent, eh? The name is Kasaika.
Yes.
Daktari, I have a question.
Yes.
We need some clarification here. You have said about the rib, and you have said the rib should. You have deducted something that the lady should be shorter.
Yes.
I remember. I remember reading in SOP that Eve was shorter than Adam, but how important is that, and how does that mean when you shorter wafai kuoa ladies wenye ni warefu ama? Kindly, wenye mnacheka na uulizia, sio mimi. Tell us.
Okay, of importance, when it comes to reproduction, stability for animals that reproduce is very important. Remember, the lady carries more weight during pregnancy, and the shorter she is, the more stable she is going to be. So that is important. The other importance is when we consider the ability of the body to regenerate or to grow or to synthesize a lot of blood. So it will depend on how broad the bones are. Okay, so that is why for ladies they're supposed to be broader for the sake of synthesizing enough blood, because at one point they are going to share their material with another being inside them. So it's important for stability. It is also important for generation of more blood, because the demands of blood are more. We also know that they are going to shed blood every month, and there's a lot of energy being lost. So we need them to have broader bones to generate more blood. I hope that one is addressed.
Thank you. Just on that,
Yes.
it suggests then, or rather it disqualifies the ongoing notion that ladies should be petite.
Oh, yes.
Majenzi sasa, you see some ladies wako na mwili kubwa naturally, but they want to be thin, or I don't know which language to say. So that means they should not see it as a fashion na wafurahie sana kukua wakonde. The broader they are, the better.
Yes, and the broadness here should start with the bones. We are not talking of depositing a lot of fat tissue unnecessary.
Okay.
Yeah. Fat tissue should be limited to what estrogen can deposit in different areas of the body. But when we have extra effort to deposit fat, no, that is not recommended.
I now understand why some people are saying some different things. Welcome, Kerema. Before we proceed, someone has raised their hand. Karibu sana, Mr. Brian, engineer.
Alikuwa anauliza swali hivi.
Yes.
Kuna pale alikuwa anasema ati the lady should be at least mfupi. So does the size matter or what? Haiwezi kuwa the opposite round.
Wewe tumejua kuchelewa. It has yet to be answered.
Hiyo tumejibu saa hivi tu. Lakini itaapia tena, wacha tuendelee. Alafu kuna mahali pengine itajirudia. Tuendelee.
You can continue.
Okay, thank you. So please confirm you are able to see my slides.
Visible.
Yes, okay. Today we have what we call normalization of nakedness. Okay. I do not understand the reason. Sorry?
Daktari, sorry
Yes.
to disrupt you.
Okay.
I just think that we are 20 minutes to 10.
Okay.
Which means we are 10 minutes past the time. So I think we can have all the questions, then we just plan to have a part 2 of this, because I think we have not covered even half of whatever you and prepared for us. My suggestion. I don't know what are other members saying.
Yeah. Give us the direction then.
Yeah, I suggest we have all the questions. Then on Tuesday, God willing, if you will be available, utumalizie hapa na tukuje sasa mapema na tuambie watu wengi, because I think we have a lot. Kama hiyo family planning, I don't know what there's a lot that you had prepared for us. Asante. I can see with the show of hands, some people are confirming that is a good idea. So now you can answer your Brian Kirema kuhusu Felista Kareri has raised her hand. She typed about alikuwa amesemea kuhusu sinuses. I don't know whether if it's still the question, but Felista, you are welcome. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Jared Makini, karibu sana pia. I'm happy to see you joining us. Yes, karibu Felista.
Okay, kuna hiyo yenye nimeandika hapo kwanza. Alafu I was asking, tunauliza maswali based on the topic yenye ameongelelea ama tunaweza uliza outside?
The best we can focus on reproductive system. Hizo zikiisha ndio tunaweza tukaenda outside. We'll have a open forum ya all those questions, especially kama uko kwa group. So we can keep the scope for now.
Sawa.
Lakini itashare na madaktari.
Nilikuwa na suggest kama tungeenda kidogo, since tumeingia tukiwa tumechelewa, hizo minutes tumechelewa tuzikari forward.
No, you can't punish us for coming late. But we will upload this on YouTube ili watu walale mapema. Yes, Rebecca ameandika message kubwa. I think we will welcome. Please Felista, bear with us. On Tuesday tutakuwa hapa. Text us, tutakuwa hadi kwa group for other follow-ups, na pia tutakupea namba ya daktari wote ambao tuko nao in case you have a question. Lakini kama uko na any question related with the reproduction or reproductive system, you are much welcome to ask. Felista.
My question was
pole, nimeongea kukani.
Ilikuwa outside.
Ilikuwa outside. I'm sharing outside. Daktari's number hapa, so kindly utamuuliza.
Oh, thank you.
Sindio, alafu in case you're interested to follow this training all along, we're having some other sessions. Nitashare my number. I'm the coordinator. I can add you to the group where you can be learning from.
Yeah.
Na pia kupata hizo notifications.
Please do so.
So let's proceed to Irene, then come to Rebecca. Irene, you can unmute. Karibu sana.
Kemi, swali yangu si kama nasikika.
Unasikika?
Swali yangu ilikuwa hiyo ya wenye wamevaccinatiwa, sa mtu anaweza fanya nini? Cause unaenda hospitali unapata, kama wakati nilikuwa hospitali unapata watu wengi wanapata preterm babies na I was among them after hizo vaccinations za nini TT. So mtu anaweza fanya nini for future?
Sijui kama nimeelewa hilo swali vizuri. Kufanya nini in terms of what, okay, the action you need to take in future ama what to do with the substance that has already been injected into your body. Unaongea action at what time? Whether you need to, the decision you need to make in future ama you're talking of what to do with the substance already injected.
I mean, sasa juu tu hatakuwa tunajua hiyo wakati ushadungwa hizo vaccine, and then last year I had a miscarriage. So ndio kuavoid hiyo kitu kujirudia in future, mtu anaweza fanya nini?
Okay. Umesema hiyo kitu kujirudia. Miscarriage jama?
Yes. Via hizo vaccine.
Okay, wacha nijaribu kujibu kwa kuangazia kwa upana, kwa sababu sijui swali lako liko wapi. Jambo la kwanza ni niseme tu ya kwamba mambo kuhusu ujauzito, mtu hajitayarishi wakati amepata ujauzito. Okay? Kama tungeendelea na masomo, baadaye utakuja kugundua ya kwamba matayarisho ya ujauzito inaanzia mtoto mwanamke anapozaliwa. Yaani unaanza kutayarisha mtoto mwanamke kubeba ujauzito wakati umemzaa. Okay? Akiwa mtoto, akiwa ananyonya. Lakini kwa sababu tumefikia mahali tumefika, inabidi tujipange kabla ya kupata ujauzito. Na tunajipanga kivipi? Kuhusu jinsi tunavyokula, kwa sababu ujauzito si ugonjwa. Kwa hivyo mwanamke anahitaji tu kula vizuri, afuate sheria za afya jinsi inavyotakikana. Hakikisha ya kwamba ametayarisha mawazo, kwa sababu kitu kimoja kinatibua ujauzito ni mawazo mazito wakati mwanamke amebeba mimba. Kwa hivyo lazima awe ametulia kimawazo, na awe mahali salama, na awe na matumaini, awe na uchangamfu. Alafu awe katika mazingira ambayo ni safi, kwa sababu chanjo nyingi ambazo mwanamke anapatiwa wakati wa ujauzito ni vizingizio ya kwamba mwanamke huyu anakaa katika mazingira machafu ili kumzuia kutokana na ni njia mbovu ya kuzuia, kwa sababu hata kama umepatiwa chanjo kama hiyo na unakaa katika mazingira machafu, utaambukizwa. Kwa hivyo aweze kukaa katika mazingira safi, aweze kuhakikisha ya kwamba nyumba yake iko na hewa ya kutosha. Sawa. Haya ndiyo mambo inafanya mwanamke awe na ujauzito akiwa na afya nzuri. So akihakikisha hayo mambo anayafuata vizuri, basi hata kuwa na tatizo katika kumlea huyo mtoto. Wale watu ambao wako na changamoto ati wakienda hospitali sijui watapatiwa hii ama hii, unaweza kama unajua sheria za afya, unakaa unalea mtoto ukiwa nyumbani, unalea ujauzito ukiwa nyumbani. alafu siku moja unaingia huko unachukua kile kijitabu, kwa sababu hicho ndicho kinatakikana sana. Kwa hivyo ukiwa na nakala yako ya hicho kitabu unakaa nacho. Kwa hivyo unakaa kama mtu ambaye anafuatilia sheria za Warumi vile inatakikana, ili siku ya kwenda kujifungua usije ukazomewa ya kwamba umekuwa wapi, hata huna kitabu, mambo kama hayo. Lakini wale watu ambao ni werevu wanahakikisha ya kwamba presha yako unaweza ukapima hata ukiwa nyumbani, unaweza ukapima sukari ukiwa nyumbani na unaandika kwa hicho kijitabu. Hakipigwi muhuri, hakuna kitabu kinapigwa muhuri. Kwa hivyo unajaza presha, unajaza hapo. Ukijaza mara 4, kitabu chako kinafaa, sasa kinakubalika. Okay, alafu unaenda unajifungua. Alafu ukisha jifungua, basi ukimalizana na huko, kwa sababu umekuwa ukifuatilia mambo vizuri, ukirudi nyumbani, hata ukiamua kutorudi ni sawa. Kitabu chako kiko na sehemu ya mtoto pia. Okay, siku ile utahitaji usaidizi na wanataka kitabu ambacho kimejazwa, wewe utakuwa unajaza kilo za mtoto. Kitabu kinaonekana kinajazwa, na hiyo ni rahisi. Hiyo kila mtu anaweza fanya. Asante.
Kuna swali umeulizwa related na hilo kabla tukaribishwe wengine. Hicho kitabu kinachukuliwa na mwezi wa ngapi? Ni wa 5 daktari ama?
Bora tu uwe na mimba, unaweza kichukua wakati wowote. Wale nimeshauri, ninawaambia enda uchukue mapema, ukae nacho. Okay, alafu hakikisha umeenda ile siku hawafungui chanjo. Unajua chanjo hazifunguliwi wakati wote. Kwa hivyo wewe jua hospitali fulani inafungua chanjo lini, kwa sababu lazima zifunguliwe zikiwa pamoja. Kwa hivyo unaenda siku kama zinafunguliwa Tuesday, unaenda Wednesday. Kwa hivyo watakwambia chukua kitabu, lakini kumbuka uje Jumanne inayofuata. Si hapo umefunguliwa.
Sister Jena ametuambia mtu anaweza akaenda clinic on Sunday. Upewe kitabu. These are sharp minds around.
Unapaswa kuwa na hekima katika hii dunia.
Okay, thank you. I suppose nataka kuamini kwamba Irina amejibiwa. So next time, since umejua chanjo madhara yake na zitaelezwa in the next class, I suppose tutaelewa zaidi. So there's this question daktari which has been asked by Rebecca. Sijui kama atataka kuuliza mwenyewe ama mimi nitasoma. Rebecca, can you explain by your own words?
Okay, good evening. My question is still on vaccination. Some already have been vaccinated. The substance is already in our system. What can we do to redeem ourselves? Then another question, I heard Daktari talk about the gay disease. My network was not very stable. I don't know whether I meant about HIV, because it was like, if you think you or your relative have that disease, then you're mistaken. So if it's AIDS, then this that we've believed to be AIDS all along, which disease is it then?
Daktari, you can begin with the first.
Okay. Yeah, concerning
I think Rebecca could clarify which vaccine is she talking about? Ni ya COVID ama ni vaccine zipi ambazo unasema, ama ni hizi za watoto?
Right from polio, hizo zote, then even to the COVID.
Okay. Karibu daktari.
Okay. I intend to show her a slide here. Okay, very important. I consider it very helpful. I'm going to show on the screen, please confirm whether you see it.
Visible.
Are you able to see that slide?
Sure.
Wonderful. So, how does it read?
Formaldehyde, aluminium.
What about the title?
Vaccine ingredients.
Yeah, vaccine ingredients. So the first one is formaldehyde, a very toxic substance. This is the chemical used for preserving bodies because it actually destroys proteins. So it will do the same to your body. Then we have aluminium. It's a heavy metal. We have mercury. We have another chemical called polysorbate 80. You can access the side effects of these ingredients in the internet. Then we have glyphosate, known for causing tumors, such as swelling of lymph nodes, cancer of the blood. That's glyphosate. It's a very dangerous compound used in pesticides. Okay, it is the main ingredient in Roundup. Then we have monosodium glutamate. This one causes dementia and other mental problems. Okay. Then we have antibiotics, which have been formed from a toxin from mold. Then we have allergens such as soy, gelatin, egg, and yeast. But the last part is what is most fearful, because we have material from aborted fetuses, we have chicken embryos material, we have blood from the calves, young ones of a cow. We have cells from the fetuses of guinea pigs, and we also have monkey kidney cells. So these are the materials. They are the ingredients used in vaccine manufacture. So you agree with me that those materials are not compatible with good health. So what does it mean? You can classify them into two groups. We have the heavy metals, and secondly, we have the animal tissue. If you do a very good job in detoxification, you are likely to remove the animal tissue. Okay? And we can pray to God that there will be no damage as a result of the interaction with animal tissue for the time that material has been in your body. But when it comes to heavy metals, they take a longer time to detox. So we have to wait for your nails to grow. We have to wait for your hair to grow as you trim it, if you have these substances in yourself, because heavy metals can only bind to a protein we call keratin found in the hair. Now, the problem with ladies is they do not want to cut their hair, and they want to cover it, so they do not want to expose it to water. They don't want to wash it and expose it to air. And for that reason, when hair grows, it turns backwards onto the skin, and the material that could have been excreted through the hair is taken back to the body. But for heavy metals, I say, unless you wait for the nails and the hair to grow and then you trim your hair, that is the only way you can get rid of heavy metals. Otherwise, they stay in the body for a long time. Okay? Yeah. The second question, are you comfortable with that first part before you go to the second?
I think you have not fully addressed it. What should people who have been vaccinated do?
That is exactly what I have said.
Okay.
We have a detox mechanism of using raw foods, taking water, ensuring that you trim your hair, you trim your nails to get rid of, okay? And then you ensure that you follow the basic laws of health. And I know you know them. You cannot do better than the laws of health that God has given us, okay? And to make sure that you improve your body health, just ensure you use those laws to detoxify your body. And detoxification is what we call that is what we call the immune system. Just get rid of those toxins. Okay.
Asanti. Swali la pili lilikuwa ni kuhusu virusi vya ukimwi. So Rebecca, sijui kama unaweza ukaweka vizuri zaidi.
Nilimuelewa kwa sababu ni mahali nilisema ya kwamba in the 1980s, to be exact in 1981, there was a cohort of people belonging to the gay and the lesbian community who are using drugs we call poppers. The chemical name is amyl and propyl nitrite. And because they do what we call very unhygienic sex, so they are likely to introduce toxins into the body, given that the anal mucosa, for those who are getting what we call receptive anal sex, meaning it's the man who is receiving, he normally and he will routinely get injuries by the guy who is penetrating him. This other guy is also likely to be injured, okay, because the anal mucosa does not lubricate. It's not like the vaginal mucosa, which has a lot of lubrication. So they normally get injuries. And because they are also ejaculating at the same time, the sperms can be introduced into the body and they behave like an organ transplant. This is foreign material that has been injected into another person's blood. So there's a reaction that is going to come as a result of that. And part of that reaction is going to cause very serious allergies, swelling of lymph nodes, and it will generate symptoms similar to what you have heard about AIDS or HIV, okay? The use of drugs we call poppers also causes the immune system to go down. So they have something we call an immunodeficiency state, okay, because of use of those drugs. Then the other thing, because these people are drugged most of the time, they have poor nutrition. So they are undernourished because most of the time they are doing these drugs and therefore they don't eat well. So they become weak and they lose weight. So the same features you used to be told that people with AIDS are presenting with. Then the other thing is because they are using blood vessels to inject those drugs, they have what we call blackening of the skin. They have injuries to the skin, so they have sores. So they have features typical of somebody who had AIDS a long time ago. Then the other thing, the gay industry has one of its requirements to these gay men that they are going to use small doses of antibiotics, especially septrin. Septrin was being used by the gay men, and they have been instructed to use it to prevent themselves from infection, because they are breaking the blood barrier and they're introducing toxins from the digestive system into the blood. So they had been instructed to be taking low doses of septrin to prevent themselves against those infections. Now that one strikes a familiar message you have heard, that people who want to prevent themselves from complications of HIV, they are given septrin. Remember, septrin was being given to the gay men because of the dirty things they were doing. Okay, so there was an explosion of a disease among the gay men. It was called GRADE. GRADE stands for gay-related immunodeficiency. So that one was later called AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency. So how it transferred from the gay men and now it was accepted by people who do not practice gay sex, I do not know. And that is where I said, if you are convinced that you have a disease that belongs to gay people and you are not gay, then you have a problem. Or your faith is different from what we call true faith in the God of creation. You believe in evolution, you believe in transgenderism, and therefore you cannot be helped. Because this is just a matter of which faith do you subscribe to? And I'm saying that because the test is also based on evolution. What we call the HIV test has been manufactured from the blood of rats, okay, and antigens, or what we call particles from a bacteria we call E. coli. So that is basically the test you go for, okay? It has material from the rats and also material from the E. coli. So if you're convinced that to you and they do not belong to the rat or to the E. coli, then that is where I say then you have a problem and you may not be helped because you believe you came from the rats and from bacteria such as the E. coli, and that is why you believe in the results of that test. So that is what I wanted to say.
Habari ndiyo hiyo. I think Rebecca, your question has been answered. Kuna mtu mwingine ambaye ana swali la kuuliza ama something to say before we finish today's presentation? We shall be having part 2 ama continuation ya mahali ambapo tumeachia, kwa sababu tulikuwa kwa hizo mambo sijui gender what, finally tulikuwa tufike kwa natural family planning methods and vitu kama hizo. Welcome Kirema, I want to believe you will be the last. Naweza kuuliza?
Ni ile swali yangu ilikuwa nimeuliza, data ilikuwa imenipotelea ndio maana ikanipotea.
Shorter women versus taller men and the opposite.
Yeah.
Daktari, unaweza ukatujibu, labda kuna mtu unasaidia hapa. Karibu.
Okay. Aha, ndio nikasema hivi ya kwamba wakati Mungu alimuumba mwana msaada kwa Adamu, lakini hitaji la pili ni kupitia kwake angeitwa mama wa mataifa yote. Kwa hivyo her makeup should be adapted to reproduction, and considering ya kwamba atabeba mimba for 9 months, and we also have demands of that pregnancy, okay? In fact, a woman increases in size during pregnancy. All the organs of the woman increase in size in pregnancy. Kila kiungo kinaongezeka. So the demands are high, and that is why God had to construct the woman in such a way she was able to adapt to those changes. So one of the things he ensured is that he collected a bone from the part of the body where we have the widest circumference, and that is the rib area, okay? And then he ensured that the bone he picked so I said has a wide base. So that is why you see in women, they have a wide base. And when we talk of wide bases, it has to do with stability. So because she's going to carry extra weight, she needs to be stable. Okay. For that reason, she doesn't need to be the same height as Adam. She should have been shorter to fulfill the purpose of bearing that extra weight. But the other point we said is she needs wider bones for the sake of generating what we call the red marrow, which is a source of blood, especially in adults. So specifically the ribs and any other bone that is flat. For example, in the hip region, it normally generates what we call the blood cells. So it was important for that purpose. So when it comes to that circumference, okay, around the hip area, the reason why a woman has broad hips, it's because of the angle of the bone we call, from where we have mahali ambako mwanamke akishika tunasema she's standing akimbo. So ukishika chini ya bavu kabisa, hapo chini utasikia mfupa ambao tunasema ya kwamba huo ndio unaitwa the hip bone. Okay? So where we have the waist, if you go down kidogo utasikia mfupa ambao una form a circumference. Hiyo ndio inaitwa hip bone. Lakini chini yake utakuta mfupa ambao unaenda kwa thigh. So that thigh bone has an angle that is sharper in women, okay, than in men. So that sharpness makes that circumference to be wider, and it is wide to be able to hold the baby who is growing, okay, and increasing in weight until the baby is delivered. The other advantage of that wide circumference is that the uterus also becomes bigger, okay, as the baby grows bigger, and therefore we need adequate space to hold it. Okay, so considering that, then the woman needs to be stable. Height is not going to help her, but it doesn't mean that there's a problem with a tall woman. Okay, as long as they're able to bear a child, I don't see any challenge. You can also marry a woman who is taller than you, but the problem is the psychological factor in it. Okay, men always feel intimidated when the woman is towering over them when they are talking. So for the psychological satisfaction, I think if the man is comfortable, then he would prefer a woman whom he can look down as he gives instructions, okay, as opposed to a woman who is breathing into the man's head. Okay, that is what I would say.
Thank you. I've understood.
Asante sana daktari. Thank you for your time. God bless you abundantly. Tumejifunza mengi. Hata mimi nimejifunza mengi. Kwa hivyo naomba tu volunteer ajitolee atuongoze kwa ombi. Manake masaa ya kulala yamefika. Tuonane tena on Tuesday. Let us share with many friends. Bearing in mind kwamba leo imekuwa kionjo tu. Next time tutadive kwa ndani zaidi. Nilishare namba ya daktari na nikashare namba yangu in case you interested kwamba you don't want to miss this session and any other. Tuko na group ya Uzimatele Health Retreat. You can text us and we can add you. Mungu abariki sana. Nani ambaye atakayejitolea kutuongoza kwa ombi? Kasaika anakushukuru sana Harriet for sharing the link. Who will be a volunteer to lead us with a word of prayer? Kezia Nice, upo? Umechelewa leo ama ulijiunga mapema? Can you lead us with a word of prayer, please?
Okay, we are going to pray. I've been in the session but nilichelewa kidogo.
Okay, we are happy to see you join us.
Thank you. Tuombe. Dear God in heaven, we are grateful for this time. We are grateful for the sharing that we've had during this forum. We pray that you may be with each and every one of us here. We are grateful also for the information that we've received. May you help us, oh God, so that we may be able to live lives that only please you. And for the information and knowledge that we continue to receive through your ministers, oh God, may you help us to take it and take it seriously. We pray also for our doctors here. May you bless them for the source of knowledge that you've granted unto them and for sharing. We also pray for a good night for each and everyone here and all our other relatives and friends. In Jesus' name we pray and believe. Amen.
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 Thank you so much. Tuko na daktari mwenzetu hapa anaitwa Dr. John Yeshoe. Kindly tusalimie.
Amen.
Mtumishi wa Mungu tusalimie.
Well, I'm here. I'm so thankful because of the presentation. I've seen that you are doing a great job because I have seen what we have gone through or we have been going to school to study. The Holy Spirit today is revealing as he did to John, that we may know what is truth, and this maybe will reveal us what we can do to save others, because the world has been following the false science, and this maybe if we can do this time and again and share, maybe we can help others so greatly. So blessed by the presentation. Thank you.
Asante sana daktari. The members who are present, I invite you all. We shall plan an event ambayo mtakuja kututembelea Nyeri. Nyeri is a blessed land. We have Dr. Fred, who is a surgeon. We have Dr. John Yeshoe, who is a medical missionary with approximately 30 years of experience. I'm one of the mwanafunzi anaitwa nani? Is it a prestigious ama ni prodigy? I'm learning a lot from them. So we shall plan an event. Mkuje tuwapeleke Nyeri Hills. We learn deeply about the herbs. We have more than 30 or 40 herbs. Tujue tunazitumiaje na pia tutoke na samples from this place. So Mungu awabariki sana. Mungu awalinde. Muwe na wiki njema. Kama uko kwa group unaweza ukatext hizo namba ambazo nilikuwa nimetuma hapo ili tukuongeze kwa group, na next Tuesday tusikose. God bless you everyone. God bless you daktari. God bless you everyone. God bless every member for sparing some time that we may learn. God bless you Harriet for leading us in singing session. Savannah our secretary na kila mtu. Mungu awabariki sana. Usiku mwema. Waswahili wanasema usiku mwema usiokuwa na bugdha wala usumbufu wa mbu wala tena tehanani. Alamsiki.